All right, we're going to create a new document to work on animation in Photoshop. So I'm going to make it 7 by 7 inches, 300 pixels per inch, and I'm going to hit create. I'm going to start by creating a circle. So I'm going to use the ellipse tool. I am making sure that up here in the options I have it set to shape. I'm choosing an orangish fill color, no stroke, and I'm going to hold down Shift to make a perfect circle. And I'm going to place that kind of in the middle, but I'm going to go ahead and, well, I'm not going to do it yet. I'm going to go get then my triangle tool, and same thing, make sure it's shape, same fill color, and I'm going to make a long shape that if I look correctly, the bottom of it is going to be somewhere in the middle of the circle, although it doesn't have to be exact because we'll be able to fine-tune that later. Okay, so I am just going to position that, and I'm going to make sure that I use my align tools to align this to the center. So now I'm actually going to turn the layer off for my ellipse, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit to make this easier to see. You want to make sure that you have auto select on, okay, and that's when you have your select tool or your move tool, click it to make sure it's on. That allows me to make sure that when I click here on the stage that it also clicks and selects from the layer panel. I'm going to Control T to transform this. And what you need to do here in the options, once you hit Control T, is you need to make sure that you check this little box so that you can change the point of registration or the point of origin so that it rotates. So if I rotate this now, it's rotating along that center mark right there. But if I move this to the bottom center, notice how it lets me rotate around that mark. And that's what we want. So check the box, put this around the center, and I'm just going to click OK for now. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to make a duplicate, and now I'm going to hit that transform. I'm going to put the mark down at the center, and I am going to rotate this 45 degrees. Okay, and I'm doing that so that we have a specific number of rays going down the sun. I'm going to check the box so that it takes, and then I'm going to duplicate the one that we just rotated. Okay, and then I'm going to Control T. Now I want you to notice that we can't exactly put it down at the bottom. So if I click that bottom, this is the bottom now. That's not where I want it. So I need to click on that little origin point and drag it to the center bottom of my triangle. If it's off a little bit, it's not a big deal. And then I hit 45 and it moves over. Okay. Now I'm going to drag and make another copy. Control T. This time I can use the dot to put it exactly where I want it. Again, 45. I'm going to drag it for another layer. You can see where I'm going with this. We are going in specific increments all the way around until we have all of the rays for our sun. And use the little mark when you can. It makes it easier. And I think this is the last one. Perfect. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to select all of the triangles, not the ellipse, just the triangles. I'm going to right click, I'm going to rasterize, and then I'm going to right click again, and I'm going to merge layers. Now I'm going to turn the ellipse back on. You might want to resize it at this point. You might not need to. But I'm going to. Then I'm also going to rasterize this. I am going to select both and use my align tools to center vertically and horizontally. And then I'm also going to merge those. Okay? Now, we want to create an animation, which means that you have to have your timeline. You can find that under the window menu right here. When you first open your timeline, you can see that you have both create a video timeline and create a frame animation timeline. Create a frame animation is what you want. Okay? So this is what we are going to do. We just rotated everything 45 degrees. So we need to have a different number that is divisible by 36 so that it will rotate and we can see it rotate in our animation. So I'm going to choose 36 degrees, okay, because 360 divided by 36 is 10. That means we'll have 10 frames for this animation. So I am going to drag this to the layer, and first thing I'm going to go ahead and name that one 1. This one is going to be 2, okay? And on 2, I want to transform. My origin point is going to stay in the center, and I'm going to rotate it 36 degrees. Then I'm going to drag it, Control T to transform, 36 degrees. And I'm going to rename them so I know which layers they are, because when you have a bunch of copies, it does wind up making things confusing sometimes. And we need 10. Regardless of how filled this looks, we want 10, okay? Okay, so I'm renaming, I'm transforming, I'm rotating, duplicating, renaming, transforming, rotating, duplicating. 2 more. Transform, rotate, duplicate, and rename, transform, duplicate. Perfect. All right. So this is what we're going to do now. I'm going to make sure that I have this tool. I'm going to create a frame animation. So I'm just going to click on this little button here, and it's going to create 1 frame right there. Now, how do we know what goes in this frame? This is frame 1. We want it to only be frame 1. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the eyeballs for all the other layers. I'm leaving background on for all of them, but I'm only going to have 1 sun on, okay? Then I'm going to click the plus sign. I am then going to turn off 1, turn on 2, plus, off 2, turn on 3, 4th one, 4, 5th one, 5, and obviously you can see where I'm going with this. There we go. Okay. Now, if I hit this little play button, it shows me my animation. Now, while I'm doing this, it should loop continuously, and your circle, because that rotation point was in the middle and you had everything aligned properly, it should pretty much stay in the same place. All that's moving are your rays. Okay? So basically what we do here with this frame by frame animation is when you create your frames, you are choosing what's visible based on the visibility of your layers. Okay? So that's what you want to consider with this. Now, what we want to do is right here, you see it says forever. Obviously, we need to save this as a Photoshop file. So we're going to make sure we save this on our computer. And we're going to call it period, last name, and rotating sun animation. Okay. And in order to actually make this animate to where anybody can see it, we have to export this as a GIF file or a video file, one of the two. But for this, it's probably a GIF. Now, one thing that we might want to do to make this a little bit better, if I show this screen properly, there's a couple of things. We have, and maybe I should, no, this will be fine. We have a lot, or at least I have a lot of background, which becomes part of the image. So if I go to edit, where'd it go? Image, sorry, not edit, image, trim, and it gives me this little pop-up. What does it want me to delete? I'm going to delete the top left pixel color. And so it just brings that in a little bit tighter, okay? And it does it, it's not just one frame that I did it to. I've done it to all of them, okay? Because that's the thing, if you make a change later on to things, depending on what that change is, it could only apply to whatever layer or frame you had selected at the time. But because I'm trimming the entire image, it's okay. So I'm going to save that again real quick. I'm going to go to export and I'm going to choose save for web. And we are going to do a GIF file. I'm going to do 128 rather. And when I do 128, we're going through here, and if you look down here at the bottom, you see animation, and you see that it is looping forever, and I can test it. If you wanted to loop it for a certain number of times, you certainly can do that option, but for this, we're going to choose forever, and then I'm going to hit save. It says it's saving it as images only. And let me find it now on my computer. Here it is. Oops, opened on the wrong side. There is my GIF looping. Okay, so that is how you're going to do it. You will be able to put that in your ePortfolio, and then you have your first basic animation.